Hello, BookTube. I had a bunch of errands to do today, so I went out and about, and in the course of those errands, I came within striking distance of a Barnes& and Noble, the big glitzy glass and steel Barnes& and Noble in Boston, here in Boston, and I know that I have been critical of Barnes& and Noble on this channel in a few videos. I don't like some of their practices. I don't like the experience. Some of the experience of a lot of going to Barnes& and Noble. I don't like a lot of their priorities, and also, because I get a lot of books from publishers and spend a lot of time at used bookstores like the Brattle Bookshop here in Boston, I also don't like the prices of retail books. But I do miss the experience. I worked at Barnes & Noble for a quarter of a century, and I miss the experience of going into a bookstore, carefully deliberating what new books you will get, and then getting them, buying them, has a charm of its own. So every once in a while I go to a Barnes & Noble, and I have a reason, because I don't get everything that I want in the mail. Usually I don't get mass market paperbacks in the mail of anything. And there are two kinds of mass market paperbacks that I particularly like: original science fiction and romance novels. And those are always on the new release sections of a Barnes & Noble, so I always tend to go in and looking for those things. Although it's also fun to see, what new books are displayed, what new books are stacked on tables, what's being discounted. That sort of stuff. It's good to know that from at the back end of the whole process that I know, to be able to see which books are actually being pushed by the publisher. So I went into a Barnes & Noble today, and I got a bunch of stuff, and I wanted to show it to you. I got 3 books, first of all, 3 mass market paperbacks, all romances. The first one is one we've seen on this channel before. I actually got it before, and I read it, and I really liked it, and on the strength of my recommendation for it, I gave it away. I mailed it to someone. So I got another copy. This is Jennifer Ryan's Dirty Little Secret, which is it's a contemporary cowboy romance. Let me read it to you, just in case you don't remember. Noah Cordero is a modern-day cowboy who loves 3 things: ranching, his younger sister, and his stepfather. John Cordero groomed Noah to take over the Montana spread where he learned to ride and work the land. But when John unexpectedly dies, he leaves half the ranch to a woman Noah doesn't even know. Roxy shares Noah's last name, but not his blood. Estranged from her father, haunted by regrets and eager to escape her notorious mother's past, she is forced to fulfill her father's last wishes. Inheriting means sharing a home with the infuriating, challenging, and oh so tempting Noah. But John didn't make her just the owner of his ranch and the guardian of her sister. His hidden sideline is her worst nightmare. She's the new owner of the notorious Nevada brothel called the White Rose Ranch, where she grew up. And it, on one level, one of the main things that I liked about it was just the zippy dialogue. This author is really good at zippy dialogue. Underneath the ranch land trappings and the cowboy talk and whatnot, this is a straightforward Regency romance novel where every last step is preordained, and yet it's also done so well that I just loved it. And I don't usually. I mean, there's a small handful of romance templates. There's Highlanders, there's cowboys, new and old, modern day and Old West. There's Regencies, and cowboys don't tend to be my thing, but I saw a copy of this, and I want to have this. I know that I will reread it down the line, and I had already gotten rid of the copy that I already had, so I got it. And then while I was looking, I found, just browsing, another cowboy novel that struck my fancy, so I got it. This is Laura Drake, The Last True Cowboy. Gonna get a bad sunburn being out and about like that. This is a Chestnut Creek novel, and it's about a rodeo widow. Carly Beauchamp has loved cowboy Austin Davis since first grade. Ask anyone in their dusty backwater New Mexico town of Unforgiven, and they'll say Carly and Austin, the way some say big trucks and country boys. But after years of waiting for a wedding ring, Carly's done with being a rodeo widow. And she moves away, and that's when Austin realizes that he wants her back, that he's always assumed she would be part of his life, and he realizes belatedly that he's been taking that too much for granted. And as I that premise just sounds like a lot of fun, so I will give it a try. And then the last one, just in case you think I've lost my taste completely, no, the last one is a Regency romance. It's 10 Kisses to Scandal. This is by Vivian Lorett, and it's the story of an inept matchmaker who wants to learn the ways of the birds and the bees. She wants to learn the ways of elegant attachments in the tongue. And who better to teach? Well, let me read you. Briar Bourne's matchmaking career could be summed up in 2 words: comic disaster. Unless she can learn about the irresistible forces that draw men and women together, her professional future looks rather bleak. But Briar has an intriguing plan, enlisting London's most irredeemable rake to teach her everything he knows about attraction. Given his notorious reputation, it's no surprise that Nicholas Blacklow, the Earl of Edgemont, requires one thing in exchange for his tutelage. For every lesson, he wants a kiss in return. But what harm could there be in a simple kiss? After all, Briar would never fall for such a scoundrel. I'll give you 3 guesses what happens. The first 2 don't count. But nevertheless, sounds like a lot of fun. And this is the next book in a series that started with How to Forget a Duke, which I really liked. So I know already that I like this author, so we'll give this a try. So those are the 3 books that I got. I got 3 romance novels. Just this time around, could easily have been Star Trek novels or whatever, but this time around it was 3 romance novels. And I also got a magazine. One of the big draws of any big Barnes & Noble is that they have a huge periodical section. Those are hard to find anymore. So I thoroughly browsed the periodical section and ended up getting the latest issue of Science Fiction and Fantasy. That this is a big square-bound periodical that has new short stories of varying lengths. I usually, when I worked at the bookstore, I religiously got this, Asimov, and Analog every single time they appeared. And I know that I don't have this issue, so I grabbed it because I have found great stuff in all 3 of those and have not got around to subscribing to any of them, which is crazy because that subscription money is how periodicals live. And I'm not always going to be able to get to Barnes & Noble to catch the latest. I'm sure I'm missing stuff. So maybe I will read, this does not have a subscription card in it, so maybe I will read the fine print in here and see where I would go to subscribe online. And then the last thing I got at this impromptu trip to Barnes & Noble was a bookmark with a tassel, because I love bookmarks with tassels. And this one is Doctor Who themed. It's bigger on the inside, which applies to the Doctor's TARDIS, which is famously bigger on the inside than the outside. But the reason this was made into a bookmark is because somebody had the inspired idea that it also applies to books, which is absolutely true. So that's fantastic. I don't have, of course, any Doctor Who book to put this in, because I've never yet read a good Doctor Who novel. But it'll certainly work for science fiction novels and anything else that I happen to come across, including this issue of Fantasy and Science Fiction. Since it doesn't have a subscription card, I don't have any way to keep my place in it. So I'll probably just do that for now. So that was it. That was a little impromptu trip to the Brattle. Some books, a magazine, and a bookmark. Next time I go, I'll make sure to make a video about it. Thank you, BookTube.